Terribly sorry I hit the wrong button. It happens. I'm older and tired. Sometimes that mistake is made. So yeah, the beard is gone. I grew it for a purpose. It was for a charity, and the idea was to raise funds for a women's shelter in my neighborhood. And it's like I just needed to come up with something to do, so I grew my beard for 10 months, and then over the course of a week, I shaved it off into different styles. And a friend of mine sponsored a silly Salvador Dali mustache for 5 days for $500. And my goal was to raise 1,000, and we ended up raising a little over 2,000. I'm not sure of the final number, but anyway, it was a success. So I am now beardless for the time being. And if my well, I think I'm going to go beardless for a while until I decide to grow it again. I don't know when that'll be. Maybe next year. I've had a few friends ask me already, like, will you grow it back? And I'm like, well, in time, maybe. So I need to apologize for last Monday evening. I had every intention of doing this, and I didn't program it in. I'll do it, before I go online. I sat down on the couch at around 7:30 last Monday, and I put on a documentary film. I think it's about Arnold Schwarzenegger. I forget what it's called at this present time. That's neither here nor there. He's not paying me, so why should I promote him? Anyway, I sat down on the couch to watch it, and I got an episode or two in, and then all of a sudden it was 10:30. My goodness, I must have been incredibly tired and really needed to just doze off like I did, because that's what happened. And one of the things I've learned that, as I've gotten older, I have discovered that when my body tells me it's time to rest, I listen. Of course, I listen when I can. Let's be realistic. Sometimes we just can't take the rest we need because duty calls, and duty could be your job or family commitment or any one of a million different things. And we don't need to get into that, but there are times when we just cannot take the rest we so desperately, desperately need. I am lucky enough that I'm finding myself in a time and place where I can do that on a sort of, I don't want to, well, they're not regular. There's nothing regular about listening to the body telling you to rest, but I can do it on a basis of, okay, it's outside of my working hours. I do have other commitments, but I can literally just say, I have to lie down. And because of this program, this thing that I do, people have come to understand what mental health issues are like. And people in my life who have never, they've been fortunate enough to never have to deal with either depression or anxiety, or maybe, a loved one that has gone through either. Although they've probably, in all honesty, definitely, without question, known somebody in their life who would, sorry, there's noise in the background there, known somebody in their life who is going through something, but it's quite possible that that person may not have said anything at the time. And that's oftentimes what the case is. We suffer in silence because we don't know how to speak up. What I've learned from Gen Z, the younger generations, is that you need to talk about when you're suffering. Because if you don't, terrible things can happen. And nobody wants that. Nobody, nobody with human compassion, nobody with love in their heart wants to see anybody suffer. I can't say nobody wants to see anybody suffer because there is a portion of the population that does derive pleasure from that. I can't speak to it, and I can't speak to why that is, but I'm going to say they have a mental health issue as well. Love is natural. Hate isn't. Wanting to see someone suffer is not natural. Wanting to help somebody when they're suffering, that's natural. That's loving. That's caring. That's compassionate. Dare I say that's empathetic. And I think if we can have more people in this world reach out and help each other out when we are suffering, if you can reach your hand out, proverbially, I don't mean literally in many cases, it's just simply not the case, but if you can reach out virtually, proverbially, if you can let people know that I am here for you, well, I think that can go a long way to helping to make the world a little bit better. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think I am. I would like to think that one of the things I've learned amongst a million, and I still realize how little I actually know, even though I've accumulated more knowledge at this stage in my life and age in my life than I ever have before, and I learn something new almost every day, and I hope to continue to do that until I stop drawing breath, because let's face it, no one here gets out alive. We all perish at some point. But I'd like to do it, after having lived as much as I possibly can. After having pursued as many goals, dreams, pleasures. I'm at a loss for words here. Life is worth living, and I want to live it as much as I possibly can. Now, of course, the complication always in this life is money. And I don't need money to purchase big, giant things like cars or yachts or houses or vacation. No vacation homes. Not. I need money to, keep a roof over my head, food in my belly, to have a beverage when I care to have one, with friends and loved ones, and spend quality time with the people that I love. And one of the things money can help buy us is the ability to take time off from work and travel if one so desires, or maybe go camping or canoeing or just hiking, or perhaps just working on yourself for your vacation time. I can't tell you what you should do if you are lucky enough to have a vacation, because I do realize not everybody has that. I'm fortunate that I do have a paid vacation. It's actually the law here in Canada, although it's not nearly enough. It's 10 days, or AKA 2 weeks, including weekends, is what the minimum amount is. And the funny thing was, it was many years of my life that I thought that was the law. Like that's, and the company sets the rules of, in 5 years you can get a third week, and in 10 years you can get a fourth week, or 15, or whatever the case was. And what I learned eventually was, no, by law the minimum is 14, 10 paid working days, including weekends, 14 days, 2 weeks, basically, is what it boils down to. And yeah, you can negotiate. And I didn't know that for a very long time. I discovered that the hard way when I took a position with a company and somebody who I hired to work for me, they go, okay, so he gets this much money and 4 weeks vacation. I went, what? What do you mean 4 weeks vacation? How does he get 4 weeks vacation? I only get 2. Well, you can negotiate that. I'm sorry, what? I thought the law was 2. No, that's the minimum requirement, which, again, isn't nearly enough. Oh, where'd you go camping, Luna? Oh, excuse me. Sorry about that. I hope you had a good time camping. I got a bit of a frog in my throat there. That was strange. I might do some camping this summer. Because I have a fair bit of time off. That was my girlfriend. I have 3 weeks in July, and I'm planning on taking a road trip this summer. I really couldn't clear my throat there for a moment. I can feel it in the air tonight. Anyway. I plan on taking a road trip to Newfoundland this summer to see some friends who I've not seen in a couple of years, and hopefully take a bit of a tour. The plan is to take a road trip from Ottawa to Newfoundland. I've done it multiple times, but it's been a long time since I've done it. And I think it would be a great little road trip. Honestly, I'm very much looking forward to it. I think it will be both therapeutic and I think I will very much enjoy the chance to just take 21 days off and not think about anything and just chill. I do intend to still keep up with some of the podcast work as much as I can, and I have a multitude of them. And hey, Miss Sadika, I have let folks know that I will do the best I can to maintain the daily show while I'm on the road. Keeping in mind that I'm on vacation, so it's not always entirely possible, especially in some of the places I plan to visit where there might not necessarily be a good, solid connection. However, as I do plan to venture through Nova Scotia and into Newfoundland, and of course through New Brunswick, I might stop and see a few folks along the way where we could do a little podcast, little morning show podcast to say hello to all the kits and cubs on the daily political show. And as I've said time and time again on this program, we don't have politics here. We don't have religion here. We don't have hatred here. We are here to discuss how our mental well-being is, how we feel. If we need to talk about something that has to do with anxiety, depression, bipolar disorder, or even schizophrenia for that matter, of which I have no personal experience with bipolar disorder or schizophrenia, but ADHD I do. We're here to talk about all of that. And that's all we talk about here. And how we can better ourselves and each other and the loved ones that we may be here to try and figure out what they're going through, because some people do occasionally check this out to try and glean information about You know, how can I better support someone in my life who is going through a mental health issue, a mental health challenge? My allergies are really taking their toll on me today. I apologize. One of the things that I have liked to discuss here is how we can reach out to one another and provide support to one another emotionally when it's important, and well, I mean, when is it never important? It's always important, right? There are going to be times when we find ourselves troubled. There will be times where we will find ourselves in a position of not knowing what to do to support someone we love or care for or work with, for that matter. You may have a coworker who is going through a mental health trauma of some type, and perhaps you're wondering, how do I talk to this person? Well, there's a multitude of ways to do it, but you need to remember, first and foremost, it's important that you're sensitive to a coworker, because you could possibly see that they're going through a mental health issue. If they've not disclosed it to you or your coworkers or HR or anyone, then you need to approach them with kid gloves. You need to be very gentle. And perhaps they're not aware of the fact that they're going through an issue. So if you see a coworker who's going through a tough time, I would think the best thing to do at that point is to ask them, are you okay? Do you need to talk to HR? Do you need to see a doctor? And that's kind of as far as you can take it. You shouldn't be asking questions about how's your mental health. That's a troublesome area, especially in the workplace. Are you okay? Do you need to talk to HR? Do you need some time off? That's about as far as you can take it. And even then, I may have pushed it too far. If anybody in the chat or who watches this and wants to leave a comment can tell me, what are the legal limitations on helping in the workplace? And I think that's important, because a loved one or a family member may or may not open up to you. A coworker probably won't. But let's face it, we spend more time in our day with our coworkers oftentimes than we do with our family members and our friends, our lovers, whichever the case may be. Oftentimes, so much of our life is spent at work. So you may get to see elements of a person's life that they don't necessarily want to share, if that makes any sense. If you see a coworker and you think they're going through distress, ask them if they're okay. Ask them if they need help. I would recommend you do not discuss anxiety or depression. Ask them if there's anything you can do to help. And honestly, I think that is kind of the limitations that are placed on us today that you can do. And understand maybe your relationship with a coworker is a little closer because you've been working with somebody for a long time. When you're younger, we tend to get a little bit closer to one another in the workplace, maybe a little bit more personal, maybe not. I'm just speaking from my experience. As I've gotten older, we've learned to put up walls and let people in less, because the workplace is the workplace, and I can compartmentalize that this is where I work, and when I go home, it's a different life. That being said, I have had mental health issues at work, and I am working in a position and a place where I can openly say, I'm having a bit of a day today. But don't worry, I'll still be able to do my job very well. But I might need a moment here or there where I have to just, you know, take a bit of a breather. Now, in my case, I don't take breaks at work, and I seldom take a lunch break because I'm just simply too busy. I eat, I have lunch. I mean, I can't go through an 8-hour shift and not have food. My goodness gracious, I'd pass out. But I do take the moment when I need to take the moment. And I think it's important that we observe that. I'm doing pretty good right now. I was tired today and I had a bit of a frustrating day at work, but it wasn't mental health related. It was just technical things. And that happens, right? Because I work in technology. And I have some wonderful coworkers who are just they're great people, and they all look out for each other, and each and every one of them is concerned about each other's mental well-being. And I'm an open book. I don't hide any of it. I talk to my coworkers about this space that I have online and how it is supposed to be a safe space for anyone who wants to come in and talk about or express, or maybe not. Maybe you just want to come in and listen. Maybe you just want to come here and hear about what it's like to battle mental health issues or find ways to help somebody in your circle. I know I talk about it sometimes. Sometimes I guess it sounds like I'm a broken record, but when it boils right down to it, it's important to keep it at front of mind, at top of mind, in your peripheral, if you will. I think we oftentimes can forget, especially if if you've never had a mental health issue, and if you've never had to deal with it personally, either through a family member or a loved one or a coworker, or if you've never dealt with it, if you've never had to experience it firsthand, I think sometimes folks will come in here and have a look and go, okay, so that's what depression looks like. That's what anxiety looks like. That's what ADHD looks like. That's what OCD looks like. I have all of those things and I live with them. And some days, thank you to medication and therapy, I'm very much on top of them. Today I'm doing quite well. Honestly, truthfully, because I will never lie to you. Yesterday I was battling anxiety yesterday. It was a serious battle. And here's the thing about anxiety. It's such a lying son of a gun. It was Father's Day yesterday, as many of you, I'm sure, are aware. And my father, he's getting older, but, he's still very much in my life, and I love him dearly, and my parents are incredibly wonderful, loving, caring human beings who would do anything for me. And I know that they love me. And I know that they want the best for me. And yet, yesterday, I was in a dilemma for several hours. Like, okay, I got to call my dad. I don't know what to say. I'm such a disappointment. I'm such a loser. I'm pathetic. I suck. I'm no good. I'm like, And this is where my head was for hours yesterday, thinking the worst things about myself, thinking how much of a disappointment I am. And even though I know to them I'm not a disappointment, I still feel it. I still believe it, even though I know it's not true. When your anxious mind tells you that you're pathetic, you're a loser, you're a disappointment, you suck, you tend to, believe it after a while, even though even though your parents will tell you that's not true, we love you no matter what, you still fight that demon because it's your own voice in your own head telling you this. And that really takes a toll. So yesterday, I was battling that. And finally, I found the inner strength to just pick up the phone and call my dad and say, okay, what time should I come over? He goes, anytime is good. I'm like, okay, I'll get over there as quickly as I possibly can. I just got to take a shower and I'll be over right away. That took about an hour because I had issues with, I have to take a shower. I got to take a shower. I like, okay, get shower. I got to shave. What am I going to wear? I don't know what I'm going to wear. I got to pick out something to wear. What kind of clothes? I don't know what to wear. Is it hot out? Is it cold out? What's it like outside? I don't know what it's like outside. I'll look at the temperature. The temperature says it's cold, but it's let me go outside. I go outside. It's kind of hot. I'll come back. Okay, I'll wear pants, but flip-flops and a sweater because it's kind of cold. But it's not that cold, but it's not that warm. So that's what I'll do. That's what I'll do. That's what I'll do. I'll do that. I'll do that. This is where my brain was. And that took an hour. Literally all I had to do was get up off the couch, take a shower, and get dressed. But I had this inner conversation in my head that took an hour before I could go see my dad on Father's Day. And I had a nice visit with my mom and dad. That my sister and brother-in-law came by, and my niece. I spent a few minutes with them. It's like I had to come home because I had a recording session booked, and it didn't go well. We had a lot of technical issues, and the whole thing got scrapped. So then there's the whole guilt of, well, I had that booked, and it didn't go well, and I could have scrapped the whole thing and spent more time with my mom and dad, but then I had that sort of guilt about that. And that's mental health. That's it in a nutshell. It plays with your head. It plays with your emotions. It does terrible things to you. But I'm open about it, and I talk about it, and I let my parents know about it. Well, I haven't discussed it with them yet, but they're going to find out through this. And I will openly discuss it with them and talk to them about it and say, listen, this is where my brain goes. I can't control it. I do my best. And I will always try to be better. So remember to take a deep breath. Breathe in, breathe out. And you're going to be okay. I promise you that you will be okay. And I'm always going to be here for you. Even if I'm not here every Monday at 9:30, I've still got several hundred shows that you can go and consult with. If you just need to hear a soft, soothing voice telling you that everything will be okay, even if you're just hanging on for dear life today, keep hanging on because you're worth it. And someone somewhere loves you, and I care about you, and I want you to stick around. You have yourselves a great week, and I will see you very soon. Bye.